Hi, everyone, and welcome to week two. This week begins our first official Unit 1 work. Um, what I've done at the top of every module here is it looks confusing, but I think it will help clarify how long some of our units are. Sometimes I feel like as a student, you don't have any sense of how long are we going to be in this unit? When's the end, right? And so I'm trying to kind of give you an idea of that. So today we're starting unit 1. It is week 1 of 4-week unit. This week, as I mentioned in the Unit 1 overview, this week, next week, and the week after are kind of our writing weeks. So we've got 3 weeks of drafting, and then our final week is revising. And so, as I mentioned again in the overview, the goal of this unit is to complete some works of writing that hopefully will help you with scholarships or applications, or even kind of revising certain things that you maybe already have written, while also focusing on some really discrete rhetorical writing skills. And so to get a good sense of where we're headed in this unit, take a look at the overview. There's a little video here, and then the learning objectives, kind of what our goal is coming out of this unit. The activities for this week, we have a couple of kind of different sections of activities. The first grouping is kind of at the end of our orientation. It's like the end of our introduction to 221. Last week I asked you a little bit about who you are as a writer. This week I want you to think about what your goals are. The second kind of activity for this week, as far as the orientation goes, is a course commitment. And as I explained, it's less of a commitment and more of a, okay, now that I have a sense of what my classes are going to be for the semester, how can I really kind of look at where my time is going, where I want it to go, what are my obligations, inside of classes, outside of class, personal life, work life, all of that. So it's really a way to just kind of map out what a day-to-day kind of schedule looks like for you, just so that you can kind of get a sense of when you might be able to do the work in the class. This little checking in with Canvas comments. For the writing territory, I asked you a question in the comments box. And so the quiz is just a way for me to make sure that you go back and get in the habit of looking at those little message bubbles, those little comments when I ask you a comment. Or give you feedback in that comment section of Canvas grades. I think it's really easy for students to miss, but it's where I tend to give quite a bit of feedback, and so I want you to get into the habit of checking that. And so this is just an opportunity for you to go back and look at what I asked you there in the quiz function. Give me the response. Then after that, we kind of transition into the Unit 1 work, and that really is looking and talking about rhetoric. Now, rhetoric is kind of one of those scary words, like what's rhetoric and all of that, but rhetoric really is just language. And so what we're going to be studying in this unit is how we can use language to not just convey meaning, but to emphasize meaning, and how we can really use language as a tool. We don't always think about that. We don't think about things like our audience. We don't think about things like our own ethos as a writer, and so part of looking at rhetoric begins to kind of look at the act of writing with a kind of a bigger viewpoint, right? Of greater context of what does it really mean to write? What does it mean to use language in a particular way? And how can we think about that and make it meaningful? So we're going to do that with the assignments of the scholarship applications and transfer applications and the PIQs. So this week the focus is on the rhetorical situation. There are several different pages in our online textbook that kind of go through that. I think they're very accessible. It's easy to understand, and once you really get the hang of the rhetorical situation, many students find it to be a very powerful tool to be aware of, to really be mindful of and thinking about when you write. Again, not just for this class, but for any writing situation that you might encounter. So you're going to read a little bit about rhetoric in general, then specifically about the rhetorical situation, and then you're going to learn a little bit about the Common App. And the Common App is going to be your first writing assignment. But before you do that, once you read about the Common App, then I'm asking you to pause and think about, all right, what is the rhetorical situation of the Common App, right? Then I want you to kind of bring that study of rhetoric together with the Common App and kind of ask yourself, all right, what is What's the rhetorical situation of this writing circumstance? And what does that mean for me as a writer, right? Like, how can you use that knowledge to help you in your writing? So you're going to complete that assignment, and then your kind of your primary assignment for the week is your draft of the Common App. So again, you need to make sure that you're reading the pages about the Common App so that you know exactly what's being asked of you and how many prompts you need to write on. Again, that's all part of the pages here. This week, you also have your first writing territory with a mentor text. And so, as I have mentioned in last week's writing territory kind of overview page, the idea of the writing territory, right? That's your bad piano, that's your practice space. But it's also your practice space to try some of these writing skills that maybe are a review for you, or maybe are new for you, or who knows, right? It's an opportunity for you to try some of these skills, again, without the fear of being assessed, without the fear of being graded, and to just try them out in your writing. So every week that you have a writing territory with a mentor text, the mentor text is just that. It's a piece of writing that exists out in the world, written by someone who has utilized the skill that we're working on for the week. You do not have to write about the mentor text. That is, in this case, you do not have to write about Jimmy Santiago Baca. You can, but you don't have to. What I'm doing is giving you that skill, what it looks like in real life, right? Not just a textbook, not just here's the definition, but here's what it actually looks like in writing. And you'll see in the PDF that's included on the page, like what the skill does to the overall meaning, right? It's not just here's how you use this skill. It's here's what it does. Here's what the impact it has on the reader, right? And so what you're going to do then in your writing territory is you're going to try out that skill. You can try it more than once. You can try it a couple of different times. Each time you try it, you need to highlight it so that way I can see it, but it needs to be there at least once. If it's not, then I will kick it back to you with a please review so that way you can go back in and check it. So again, you have quite a bit to do this week. The first few things are little tiny things, right? You can complete them whenever, but then once we get into the rhetoric and the rhetorical skills, then you're going to have to kind of put a little bit more work and time into those last few assignments. I do have student hours this week. Again, make sure you're checking on that planning page. It's the very first page of the module. I also have it cropping up on your to-do list on Monday. So if you have any questions, of course, please don't hesitate to ask, and you're welcome to come in anytime or schedule a conference if you would rather meet with some dedicated time. All right, welcome to Unit 1.